Hi there, welcome to Common Ground with Corrine Rios. One of the reasons why I started Common Ground was because I believe people are hungry for conversations. Conversations where we can ask questions, learn from one another, and discuss important issues without immediately turning everything into hate and anger and division. This channel is about slowing down, listening, helping residents better understand the systems that affect their everyday lives. Today's conversation is especially important because we're talking about elections, voter rolls, education procedures, and how local elections are actually run here in Sandoval County. There's a lot of information online. There are a lot of concerns people have. There are also a lot of misconceptions. My goal with this interview is not to create fear, but to create understanding and transparency. So today I'm joined by Joey Dominguez, Sandoval County Deputy Clerk. The county clerk's office plays a major role in our elections. Everything from voter registration, absentee ballots, early voting, election security, voter rolls, and reporting election results. So thank you, Joey, for being here today and being willing to have this conversation with me. I really appreciate it. So before we get started and get into it, can you just want to introduce yourself for our audience?
Absolutely. Thank you, Corrine, for having this conversation and uh, asking to learn more about elections. My name is Joey Dominguez. I am the Chief Deputy Clerk. Been here for little close to 6 years now, a little
Oh,
over 6 years. So it's a job I love doing. They say when you love your job, you don't work a day in your life. Uh, we do work a lot of hours here, but I absolutely love my job and serving the folks of Sandoval County. Yeah, my background is I'm a criminal justice major. Been in public service, combined probably close to 8 years. But I absolutely love elections.
awesome.
Yeah, thank
we,
you.
we need people with that passion working for us.
Absolutely.
So, and I also want to be transparent about my background. I was a VRA
Okay.
at one point. I was a a poll challenger, and a few years back, I was right in here. I think we were watching the mail-in ballots being
Okay.
tabulated. So I do have a little bit of experience, not a
Okay.
lot. And then I've been voting my whole life. I've ran in a few uh, races here in
Okay.
Rio Rancho. And one of the biggest goals of this interview is to show people from different perspectives that we can sit down and have a conversation. So, with that, Joey, are you
Absolutely.
comfortable sharing your party affiliation?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a Democrat. Party affiliation with voter rolls is public. Although full disclosure, while I am a Democrat, I don't wear my party hat when I come into this job. Our responsibility is to provide and administer elections for every registered voter in Sandoval County, regardless of political affiliation.
Yes.
And so, any election administrator around the state, doesn't walk in with a party hat because our collective goal is to provide access to every single eligible or registered voter in our counties. So yeah, I
and,
love
and
it.
and I believe that people can do that. Leave the
Absolutely.
party hat off.
You can.
I believe that's what I'm doing now
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
am. I don't know about if you know anything about me, but I've been a registered Republican my whole life.
Okay.
I'm a Christian conservative first,
Okay.
and grew up Catholic here. I'm a native New Mexican,
Okay.
and in 2025, I switched my party affiliation
Okay.
because I was very disappointed with the Republican leadership
Okay.
and I could no longer align myself. So I am actually not an independent. I am a DTS.
Decline to select.
Decline to select. And there's a lot of misinformation about that. We'll get about that later, but that's where I'm at. And I just want to tell people that we're on the different spectrums, but we have more in common probably. Are you native New Mexican?
I am. My whole life grew up
Yeah.
here, raised here, Bernalillo. I live in Rio Rancho now, but grew up in Bernalillo. So
Awesome. And so
yeah,
you love New Mexico.
I do absolutely. It's my home. I love New Mexico. I love the people. I love my community.
Awesome. See, I'm like that too. We got a lot
Yeah,
in
we
common already to go to
absolutely,
start with.
absolutely.
All right. So the one of the reasons that brought us together was that I went on April 29th and I did a Facebook Live post discussing my daughter's voter registration.
Right.
And I believe that was about how I still get uh, mail for my daughter
Right.
at my house because
You
she
do.
used to live there. So the last time she voted was in 2018. And so I just went on there and was letting people know that I could actually, if I wanted to be fraudulent, I could go on the New Mexico state website, put in her birthday, put in her name, put in her county, and request an absentee ballot. Or I could even go and register, vote in her place because we don't have voter ID. So that's what the video was about. Did you see that video?
I did see the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is what brought up my concern.
Right.
And I think it's a valid concern.
Right.
So then I posted that, and then I get an email from you, and I think it was that same day.
It might have been a couple days later. Yeah, I did get an email from a voter, and I won't say the voter's name. I didn't ask if I could disclose that, but very passionate, doesn't have a party affiliation, doesn't align with either side, has different positions. So again, great individual, and has been involved in elections, serves as a poll worker, has got to really understand and know the process. So yeah, that individual contacted me and said you needed to look at this and maybe provide some information or context in this. I think it's a valid concern, and he said I don't believe that Corrine was malicious. She just doesn't understand some of the processes in place, right? And so that's why I reached out and provided a little bit of context about the
I think that's awesome. And my first response, well, why couldn't that person just come to me?
Right.
If he saw the video, right? And I was a little annoyed. I'll tell you, I was a little annoyed. It was like, okay, so you're going to go be a tattletailer?
Yeah, and truly, he just for context, he I think is more of a fan of you than a critic of you. So
so I got over myself.
Okay.
I got over myself because this is what happens.
Right.
Right. And that's a perfect example of getting in your feelings and having some irrational thoughts. And so I calmed down and I read what you wrote and I said, wow, I didn't even know you did have this stuff. I didn't see this. And I think you put in the flyer in the email a banner or something that you do at elections.
We do at our polling site.
I've never seen that. Yeah. I've never seen that. So then I thought, okay, calm down. Just ask him if he wants to have a conversation. So that's how this came to be. And you were so gracious to say, yes, sure. I calmed down a little bit. And so that's why we can have a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So I think that was awesome. So let's just go back and we're just going to jump right into it.
Sure.
I know voters are responsible for canceling their registrations.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I know that, but I don't think I've seen enough cancel your registration when you do these things. And I know you provided all that information, but as somebody on the ground, now I've worked elections.
Right.
I send everybody to the New Mexico Secretary of State website.
Right.
I get all my information from there. I tell people, if you need to know all your districts, go there. Mm-hmm. And this is going to sound really stupid. I didn't even know that the Sandoval County, you had a place to go register on your website, Sandoval County Clerk?
We do. So basically, it's scnmvote.com, and we do have update your voter registration tab. It's a redirect link to the New Mexico Secretary of State's website, which is nmvote.org. The Secretary of State's office administers the voter registration portal service, right? And so folks who want to register online can go to that website, and then so we redirect them there. All of the registration goes to that system, and then it comes to every county clerk based off of their location or address, right? And so in service, we call it the OVR queue, online voter registration queue. All of those registrations get loaded into that queue for us to then, as a county clerk's office, go in and process each registration, right? And so when we do that, we do a citizenship felon check and a match, right? So if it's a duplicate voter, perhaps. So let's say an individual is in another county in New Mexico, based off of, it's going to flag a weak or a strong match, right? And I've sent you the administrative rule that has that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the full social security number matches that individual who's registered in another county and year of birth, then we know it's a strong match. So we'll pull that voter's record from the other county into Sandoval County. And so, again, that site's administered by the SOS. We redirect them to that site. And the form that I provided was also a form developed by the Secretary of State's office for all 33 counties to utilize to cancel a registration. In fact, on the second page, it lists all the county clerks. So when folks send that cancellation, it can get directed to the right county clerk's office.
But they can't cancel on the New Mexico State website.
They cannot. So they would use that form.
What form?
The form that I sent you, the cancellation form, which is developed by the Secretary of State's office. We have it available in our county website, which, voters fill it out. It's simple, right? They fill it out, scan it over to us. We receive it, we attach it to the voter's record, and then put them in cancellation.
So let me just get this in my brain.
Sure.
I've been using the New Mexico SOS.
Right.
They're on the and I think a lot of people that I know that work within the party, my old party,
sure.
We always would send people to the New Mexico Secretary of State.
And that's still the appropriate venue.
But when you want to cancel, you have to go to the Sandoval or Bernalillo County.
Whichever county you want to cancel your registration, because the Secretary of State, for uniformity, right? We've developed statute and administrative rule in New Mexico where the Secretary of State is the main facilitator of service, right? An administrator.
Okay.
And then every county clerk in New Mexico, all 33 of us, have county administrator access to service. But every county clerk is the keeper of the voter record for their county. And so that form was developed to have uniformity, right? To cancel your registration. But it is the requirement of the voter. And on that second page, it says, here are your 33 county clerks. Whichever county you live in, you would send that cancellation to your county clerk. I hope I answered that question.
No, you do. I'm just trying I'm just trying to kind of formulate in my brain, like, to me, there's like a disconnect from the state to the county, right? Because we always go to the state. You even can get an absentee ballot from the state.
So, and I guess I got to break this down a little further, right? So again, the Secretary of State maintains service, right? And for uniformity, they administer the program. To request an absentee ballot, it goes to nmvote.org. To register to vote, you go to nmvote.org, right? Same process. Now, the Secretary of State's office, imagine, first of all, they don't have enough staff to process every voter registration. So instead, based off of the geographical location of the voter registration, it disseminates it into a workflow to all 33 county clerks.
Okay.
And so voters would still go there, right? It's for uniformity. It connects and integrates live into service, and then it disseminates down to the appropriate county for processing an application. That all still happens at your county clerk's office.
Okay.
So you do it on nmvote.com. It comes into our workflow. So you're requesting an absentee ballot, that comes to our workflow.
Okay.
You're requesting or you're doing a new registration for the first time using that portal, it comes to Sandoval County Clerk's office or the respective county that the voter is in.
Okay.
So it's still the appropriate venue, nmvote.org. But for cancellation, that form that is hosted on the Secretary of State's office would still be utilized for.
Is there a form on the Secretary of State?
There is. That form that I sent you is on the Secretary of State's website.
But you can't like go in and like, when you log into the portal and you see your history, you see your ballot, that menu that's on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
There is a cancellation button there? I didn't see one.
It's not a the cancellation button is not a live database. Instead, it requires a PDF document to be filled out, handwritten or filled out by the voter, and then you send that to your county clerk's office.
Oh, okay. And that is on the voter portal at the SOS?
It's not on the voter portal. It is on a, let's see if I can pull it up actually. So we are live.
And I'm just wanting to get this information so that when people ask me or I try to educate people, I can direct them to it specifically.
Absolutely. So if you go to the Secretary of State's website, it is the voter cancellation request form.
Okay.
AC, the air conditioner.
Now, is that on the same the voter portal? Is it somewhere easy to find?
It's right here. It's not relatively. I mean, I think it's easy, but I know how to.
You know the website, yeah. Oh, I've never seen that.
So it is here. It's the same document that
Uh-huh.
I showed you, and it has the instructions. It cites the statute, and then the cancellation request, and then depending on what county you live in, then you would forward it to your appropriate
Okay.
county clerk.
And the reason why I want to ask this because I believe, Joey, that voters have a responsibility.
Absolutely.
And I think we've gotten into this mode of always it being the Secretary of State or the county clerks
Hmm.
to do the job that the voters are supposed to do.
Right.
So I'm just trying to understand, like, why aren't people doing that? Or people, how many cancellations happen in Sandoval County, would you say, a month?
Um, it fluctuates, right? So when folks move out into another county, so we have a really cool thing in New Mexico called automatic voter registration now,
Mm-hmm.
AVR, and so now that folks are updating their driver's licenses, that's an immediate workflow, right? Because it forces the folks who are going to get a identification card or driver's license to automatically register to vote, and then
Right.
each county clerk will send them a notice saying you can opt out, right? But they have to opt out of that process. So with
Okay,
that
wait, start over
process,
again. So you go to the DMV
mhm,
and they ask you, do you want to register to vote?
they don't ask you. In New Mexico, automatic voter registration, every individual who's a U.S. citizen is automatically registered to vote. And then within a couple months, the county clerk sends them a notice saying you're a registered voter. You didn't select a party affiliation, so you're placed in DTS, right? Declined to select.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, and so with that said, then the county clerk's office will send a mailer to them saying you're registered, you didn't select a party. Give them the opportunity again to say which party they'd like to select. If they don't select anything, they could reaffirm zero party status, right? And with that said, we get when we send this mailer, they have the ability to opt out of being a registered voter at that point. But for the purpose of initiating a transaction at the motor vehicle division, it is automatic. It's required. They can opt out later.
And that was a law that was passed, am I
It
correct?
was,
And
yes.
what year was that in?
We are in 26, so that would have been the 2025 legislative session, the 60-day session.
Okay. So is this why maybe we have an increase in the DTSs?
It could potentially be an increase as that folks aren't selecting it. Another growing trend is folks don't want to affiliate with a party anymore, right? And so in New Mexico, we now have open primaries, so or semi-open primaries, right? And so folks who are declined to select can participate in each major political party's primary now.
Do you
Uh,
have numbers on how many people have actually automatically at the DMV been enrolled to register and they were put in the default if they didn't pick a party? How come they aren't required to pick a party right then and there?
They are. So if they don't, they have the option to pick a party. If they don't, it defaults to DTS. They don't have to. You can't force a voter to affiliate,
But
right?
is DTS an option for them to put in there so they can automatically do it instead of it going to a default DTS?
I'd have to look at what the I haven't renewed my driver's license since that has gone through. I've done it online, but I'm interested in seeing. But I would imagine that they have the two major parties. If they don't select either of those major parties, then it defaults to decline to select. And they may intentionally not select a party so they can be declared an independent or DTS.
Yeah, because I know that when you go register to vote on the Secretary website
Hmm.
and you pull down the party affiliation, there is the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and then there's another option, the DTS,
Right.
right? So I'm just wondering if the Secretary of State party affiliations is the same as the um, registration, the
The
MVD.
MBD portal. And again, the voter again has the choice a second time, right? They didn't choose an affiliation, so that form that goes out to them within a couple months, right, gives them the opportunity to select a status. If they don't, an affiliation, then they stay in DTS status. So I couldn't firmly answer whether that is why voters are more affiliated with DTS. DTS voters and independents are a growing trend nationwide, right?
Because I'm hearing that, oh, that's only, because we're going about the numbers. It's a lot. I think there's 371,000 at the end of April
Yeah.
DTS voters. That's a lot. And then somebody says, oh, that's just because they're just default from the. And I'm like, what do you mean a default?
Well, even before that law was adopted, we had relatively close to 30,000, or maybe a little over 30,000. I'd have to look at the statistics. The law was enacted in July of 2025. So I'd have to look at the statistics and see what they've grown by.
Hmm.
Um, but again, that party or that unaffiliated party of folks has been around 30,000 in Sandoval County.
But I think
So
too, it also trickles down now because I'm not an independent. I'm not an independent. I don't, even though I'm an independent thinker, I am a decline to select. I don't want to affiliate with anything. And so now what I think is happening on the ground is a lot of people are saying, oh, the independents now can go vote in a semi primary. But if a lot of people don't even, if you go and circle that little DTS, you're thinking like, okay, well, I'm not an independent. I can't go vote in the primary. And I think language is so important. So I'm trying to tell everybody independent, that's not a party in New Mexico. You're not independent because isn't there an independent party in New Mexico?
that's a great point. There is an independent
Yes.
party of New Mexico. They are not qualified as one of the minor parties, and so when essentially people say they're independents, and that could be an answer, right? But because we have a party political affiliation who's applied for a party status, independent party of New Mexico, we instead say unaffiliated, right? Decline to select,
Yeah.
because um, folks could think that they are affiliated with that party who's applied for party
And I
status,
know
right?
there's not very many of them because
There's not, yeah,
when I got my the candidate information
right,
back at who voted, I'm like, INM, what the heck is that?
right, right.
And then there's a AFP. What was that one? Americans
There's like
AF.
17 or 18. I don't know
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah,
Yeah, it was very interesting. So I think
there's
that people
several.
just confused. Okay, so let me go back to the DTS one. So they're in the default if they don't, and then you have to send them a follow up card, say something like this.
Right.
How many of those do you have to send out? Do you know how many?
Well, our voter roll has grown substantially with AVR. And so going back to the reason I brought up AVR is that with AVR, it is helping us have more accurate voter rolls, right? Because folks aren't always the best at updating their driver's license when they move, right? Or get a new apartment or move anywhere in the state. But when they do, it immediately sends a transaction to us, right? And then that is going to help us in the long term have more accurate voter rolls, right? By capturing that data. So that was one opportunity. And that's why I mentioned we have a cool new thing called AVR here.
So yes, I did know about that. So you guys think that that works as a checks and balances kind of thing, and that keeps the voter rolls current?
I don't think it's the whole answer to
Right.
having accurate voter rolls, but it is a great tool
Yeah.
to certainly ensure that we are
Yeah.
updating our voter rolls when folks move. So it's a great toolbox,
Yeah.
a great tool in the toolbox for county clerks.
Okay. And what if, say, do you ever compare the driver's license with the voter rolls? And if somebody doesn't renew their driver's license, what happens with that voter registration? Say, like my daughter,
Hmm.
right? She hasn't renewed her license. She hasn't. She's not even living in the state. So how do we do? I mean, how do you track these?
So I'm glad you asked that question. So there's a couple variables. So in New Mexico,